What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Welcome to Alex Sports Talk and Bets. And I'm falling behind on my NFL season previews, right? There's 32 teams. And I didn't really even think about that. So in between work and running another channel, I'm falling behind. So I'm not going to get to all 32 teams before the season kicks off next Sunday at this point. Next Thursday, technically. Well, Thursday, not even next. But I'm going to try to get to the teams that I think people aren't thinking about who are going to have key turnarounds or key fall offs. The New York Football Giants are one of those teams I think is going to have a key turnaround. Now, understand when I say key turnaround, I don't think the Giants are going to be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to pull a Commanders and go from being sorry to being a playoff team the next year. I don't think they're ready to do that yet. But I do think they're going to be a lot more competitive, and they're going to be one of those teams that are going to be pesky if they pop up on your schedule. I think 7-10, 6-11 is not far off for the New York Giants this year. And the reason I feel that way is because I like the way they built their team. I like teams that build through their offensive line and through their defense. The Giants have quietly built a very good defense. Nowadays, with the style of the NFL, the most important part of your defense is easily your defensive line. One, because a great defensive line can slow down the opponent's running game. But more important than that, most teams want to do air raids and throw the ball all over the place in the NFL today. The Giants are equipped to stop both. They're equipped to slow down the run, and they're equipped to completely slow down your pass attack. The Giants are going to have one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. They have silently assembled the Avengers on that defensive line. You have Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and now Abdul Carter, who I know is a rookie, but he's going to be a stud. Listen, if you went to Penn State and you played linebacker or defensive end and you wore number 11, you're not going to be bad. Abdul Carter is going to be good. So you have three players there, and then you got Dexter Lawrence, too, one of the best defensive tackles, arguably the best defensive tackle in the entire NFL. And he can get after the passer, too. So the problem that they're going to present for you is they have three guys who are edge rushers who are going to be extremely hard for you to block. Kayvon's a little inconsistent, but it's a whole different ball game when he's rotating in with Abdul and Brian Burns beating your tackles up. I also think they can utilize Kayvon Thibodeau in the middle a lot more now, especially on passing downs, and just put Abdul outside. And I think Kayvon's too athletic for the average NFL guard when it comes to a pass rush on the inside. I know the Packers used to do that a lot with Zadarius Smith, and they had great results. I think Kayvon could do something similar. But either way, you have Big Dex, you have Abdul, you have Brian Burns, you have Kayvon. That's too many people for you to double team. You got to double team Dex. So you're going to give Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns one-on-one on the outside. I think they're just going to wreak havoc. Abdul Carter, to me, is going to be one of those guys, right? I said that about Jaden Daniels last year before anyone knew he was coming. I was like, Jaden Daniels is not normal. He's going to be one of those guys. He's like a franchise changer. Abdul Carter has that type of potential. He has like Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett. I'm going to come in here and just wreck things. Potential, right? So when you have a guy like that, then you have Dexter Lawrence in the middle, then you have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. People are not going to be able to deal with that. That's going to cause problems. Okay, I don't think they have the best secondary in the world. I mean, I think Deonte Banks will do better as a cornerback too, which he's playing now. Hopefully he develops a little bit. I like them coming out of college, but he hasn't been that great in the NFL. Paul Adobo, I'm probably saying that wrong, but I think he's good. I think it was smart to get him. He could probably survive a little bit better as the number one. Their safeties, they've got Nubin. Nubin's solid. I don't remember off the top. I want to say it's Hargrove they got the other safety. I can't remember. It's a solid secondary, right? Brian Arakpo and those boys at linebacker, I think they're solid too. But the thing about it, especially when we're talking about the defensive line catapults everything up. You've seen it with the Eagles last year. You've seen it with the Eagles' defensive line was so dominant, it made their linebackers, it made their secondary look a lot better. I can see that happening for the New York Giants. When your quarterback has less than 5 seconds to go, he might have less than 3 seconds. When timed in the training camp, Abdul Carter was giving people on average less than 2.5 seconds to get the ball off. So at that point, it doesn't really matter how good your secondary is. They only got to cover for 2.5 to 5 seconds. That's a huge advantage when you know consistently your pass rush is good enough that the quarterback has to get it out of his hands that quick. It gives you a lot less to worry about. So I think that defense is going to be really good. It's going to keep them in a lot of games. Russell Wilson, who I don't like. I think Russell Wilson is washed. But I do think he's still better than Daniel Jones, who is terrible. And Russell Wilson isn't going to lose you a game. Russell Wilson isn't going to win you a game, but he's not going to lose you a game either, right? So you put Russell Wilson out there, you have a dominant defense. I just think they're going to be in a lot of games, and because Russell Wilson won't lose you a lot of games, they're going to be a pain in a lot of teams' behinds. They are. They're going to be like that team that you should beat, but you know it's going to be a lot more difficult than you would like it to be. You know, you're not just going to run over them anymore. I also think you got Malik Neighbors on the outside. If there's one thing Russell Wilson could do is throw those moon pies. So I think Malik Neighbors is going to have a big year this year. Tyrone Tracy, I like a lot. He gets slept on. I like him a lot. Offensive line still not great, but it's better than it was. They got Cam Scatterbo back there. I'm not really that big of a Cam Scatterbo fan, to be honest with you, but he might do a little something. They've got some tight ends with potential, but we haven't necessarily seen it yet. I got to see how Bellinger comes back from that injury. They've got another guy from Penn State whose name I can't recall off the top of my head. I do all these off the top of my head, by the way. I can't recall his name, but they got another guy from Penn State. Pretty good prospect. We'll see what he might become. So the offense isn't going to be anything special. Don't get me wrong. I do like Wandale. Darius Slayton is okay. I think the offense will just be decent. But again, I don't think they have an offense anymore that's going to lose them games. Their offense was so bad last year, it lost them games. That's not going to happen this year. And so when you have a dominant defense, a veteran quarterback who's going to game manage, you're going to be in a lot of games. You're going to have a lot of chances to win. And so I think the Giants are going to be a thorn in people's behinds this year. The Cowboys, I think, are done, which we'll get into that when we get into their season preview. But I just think the Cowboys, it's time to blow that up, in my opinion. It's just not working out. So I can see them possibly, they might be a year off, but possibly taking the Cowboys' place as that third team in the NFC East. I could see that. And then if Jackson Dart is as good as he looked in the playoffs, I've told all Giants fans, in a best case scenario for you guys, Jackson Dart is your starter at least halfway through the season. If he's your starter a quarter of the season, that's not necessarily good because that means you're getting beat down. But if he's your starter halfway to the season, that means you haven't been getting beat down. It's looked decent. He had about a half season to learn the rest of the playbook. Now you want to turn it over to him. But at some point, he should be taking the reins from Russell Wilson this year. That would be a good sign if that happens. So yeah, I think the Giants are going to be better than a lot of people think. That's why I wanted to get this preview out here because there's a lot of things that I say first that, I just want on record that I said it first. I think they're going to be better than a lot of people think. Brian DeBoer is a good coach. Yeah, they're going to surprise some folks. I wouldn't be surprised if they won week 1. As a matter of fact, I think they're actually going to beat the Commanders. Right? I'll get into more detail about why when I do my week 1 preview. But I think they're going to beat the Commanders. I can 100% see that happening. So that's my thoughts on the New York Giants, y'all. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.